Hi, everybody. I'm Judy the YouTube Lawyer. Thanks for being here. This is going to be another open discussion of a few criminal cases. I'm going to put a link in the chat box in case anybody would like to join in and show their face on camera. Feel free to give your opinions or commentary about these cases or anything else that you might be interested in. So let's start out first with the Adnan Syed case. This is a case that I've been wanting to cover for several months, but it's taken me so long to read up on a bunch of articles and listening to that whole serial podcast, which is really a great podcast available on YouTube. And so I just started reading this book called Adnan's Story. He doesn't look like this anymore. This picture was taken when he was a high school student, and he was actually incarcerated for almost 23 years, convicted of the death of his former girlfriend, Hae Min Lee, who was also a student in Baltimore, Maryland in 1999 when she was murdered. So if you guys know anything about this case, if you have any strong feelings about it or any opinions as to whether he is guilty or not, feel free to share that in the chat box or join in on the video. So this book is written by a Maryland attorney, Rabia Chaudhry, and I did try to contact her a few months ago through her website to see if she would like to be a guest on the show, but never got a response. But I think she's too big time to be on this little YouTube channel show. I know she's been interviewed a lot in different TV shows and other media. So this is one of the recent news articles about the case. It says that Hae Min Lee's brother is requesting another hearing in the case because it just sort of came out of the blue. It was very interesting. What a coincidence that on one of my live stream shows months ago, someone was asking about this case. And so I started reading up on it, and then lo and behold, it suddenly came in the news that Adnan Syed was being freed because of some procedural errors, some problems with information that was not turned over to his former attorney. And it does sound like his attorney during the trial, who's this woman named Christina Gutierrez, seemed to have done a really shoddy job on his defense, and she either didn't know or she didn't pursue a lead from some other witness who supposedly saw Adnan in the school library when he was allegedly when Hae Min Lee was murdered. So there are a lot of issues that Adnan and his supporters had with that attorney, Christina Gutierrez, who unfortunately sounds like she had multiple sclerosis and she died of a heart attack back in 2004. So because of the way that things transpired in the underlying criminal case with potentially exculpatory information not being provided to the other side, the state decided to go ahead and release him back in September. And the victim's family is saying that they did not get sufficient notice of the hearing. They weren't allowed to be heard. I think the brother is saying he only heard about it maybe a day or half a day before it happened. So totally out of the blue. Also, just to let you guys know, I am working hard behind the scenes trying to find more guests. So I tried to get Hae Min Lee's family attorney to be a guest also on this show and got no response. So I don't know how Surviving the Survivor can do this, but they seem to get the best guests, and congratulations to them on, I think they've exceeded 8,000 subscribers, and Stephen Cohen has definitely been doing such great work to get the best guests for their show. So meanwhile, you guys get me. So I can't seem to get anybody big and famous to be on my show. So let me get a drink of water. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's take a look here at the article. It says Hae Min Lee's brother is requesting a redo of the hearing that vacated Adnan Syed's murder conviction. Attorneys representing the brother of Hae Min Lee, a teenager whose 1999 killing was investigated on the hit podcast Serial, requested a redo of the hearing in which a judge vacated the murder conviction of Adnan Syed. Syed has been accused of killing the teen and served more than 20 years in prison before his release in September. The judge's decision to vacate the conviction came nearly 8 years after the podcast dug into the case and raised questions about the conviction and Syed's legal representation. Court documents filed in the Maryland Court of Special Appeals on Friday alleged prosecutors in the circuit court where the conviction was vacated violated the rights of young Lee, the victim's brother. So you can see a little picture here on the left side of the victim. She was found in a shallow grave in some sort of wooded park. Okay, so it looks like this case isn't 100% over, although Adnan has been free and back with his family somewhere in Maryland since September. And that was a really big deal. So there are tons of articles out there, and I'll just check and see in the comments here if anybody has any strong feelings about this case or has anything to say about the Syed case. I know everybody's really glued to things such as the Idaho college student murders, which has just happened, as well as the Markel case. So we'll definitely talk about the Markel case. I've only been following the Idaho college student murders a little bit, and unfortunately, there's really no new news. We're just hoping that the investigators and the law enforcement are doing their work behind the scenes. Okay, yeah, thank you, Dawn. Thanks for, okay, first foray into podcasts. Okay, interesting. Okay. Okay, so Dawn has been following the case. She says he didn't get a fair trial, but I'm not sure as to guilt or innocence. Seems like a fair investigation and trial would have helped me form a proper opinion. Yeah, that's right. Because, I've talked to other friends that had sort of been following this case or knew about it for years. And I mean, to tell you the truth, none of us really think he's totally innocent. It's really hard to tell just based on, the news articles. I feel like the Serial podcast was really, in my opinion, quite biased. Like it seemed like the reporter really wanted to find him innocent and wanted to prove his innocence, maybe driven by wanting to get more attention to the podcast. So I don't know, there were certain things that were said during the podcast that actually started making me think, well, maybe this guy is guilty. Maybe he did do it. Like this isn't really swaying me in his favor. But, what do I know? I'm just another, person out there that's read some news articles, listened to some YouTube videos and podcasts, and ultimately, I do believe everybody does deserve a fair trial, and there shouldn't be any constitutional violations with exculpatory evidence being withheld. So, or potentially exculpatory evidence. Yeah. So Dawn says, I feel for the victim's family. Yeah, same here, because even if he didn't do it, then who did it? There still hasn't been real justice for the case. And from what I've read, it sounds like her brother is out there in California. I'm not sure if her parents are still alive or if they're still in Maryland. So the brother has to be involved in this case all over again. Yeah. Okay. So Tony, thank you for your input. Adnan is guilty. LOL. Hey, Jude. Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that. If you feel like telling us more about why you feel strongly about that, please let me know. Oh yeah. Yeah. This is just amazing. So Surviving the Survivor, which is another YouTube channel that follows the Markel case, just zoomed up with thousands more subscribers. So they actually have more subscribers than I do now. So I need to work harder on this channel, right? Okay, well, thank you, Don, for your support. Idaho is huge. I'm obsessed. Okay, well, like I said, if anybody wants to come on the show, I did put the link in the chat box, and I'll do it again if you want to come on the show and actually speak to all the listeners out there in YouTube world. Okay, so let's take a look at some more. Okay, Tilo, are you trolling or you believe it? Yes, you believe it. Well, I mean, that's what another friend of mine, I will not give the person's name, but we were talking about a case and she's like, yeah, he's guilty. I feel like he did it. He killed her. Who else really had that motive? Although supposedly there was a threat made by somebody else about wanting to kill Hae Min Lee. So yeah, who knows? Yeah, I never felt strongly compelled that he wasn't, just that he didn't get a proper investigation trial. Yeah, that much I do believe. That it sounded like his attorney, may she rest in peace, she sounds like she did a really awful job representing him. Okay, Tony says she's not trolling, she's being honest and blunt. Yes, that's fine. I mean, everybody can have an opinion about these, right? Yeah, so sad. Okay, love your Boston bluntness. Okay. Okay, yeah, thank you for always sharing your opinions. Yeah. Okay. What is the William Hustle trial? Okay, sorry, you guys know more about these criminal cases than I do. I don't think I know anything about that trial. Yeah, there's just too much going on out there. West Memphis 3, wow. Okay, plus Idaho. Yeah, I'm trying to read more about the Idaho case, but it sounds like there's really no new news right now. Although, it's got to be somebody that had a personal beef with at least one or more of the kids or college students that were killed, given the brutality of the scene. So, pretty scary there. Just imagine if he's guilty and he's being embraced like this. It would be so heartbreaking for her family, the victim's family. Yeah, that's why, I don't feel like, really cheering, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's just things in that Serial podcast that made me think, okay, if the goal of the journalist was to make it seem like, oh, this is a poor innocent guy that's been railroaded, well, there were just some things that were said during that podcast that made me start thinking, well, it seems to me more like he did do it. So, but I don't know. Yeah. I don't think any of her close family is still in Maryland. Okay, thank you. Oh, okay. Don says, I'm not going on today, nursing a migraine. Oh, sorry to hear that. Okay, he just did a video about Charlie Adelson's body language today. Okay, I'm looking forward to that. We'll talk about Adelson next. Okay, yeah, seemed very unfair. Thank you, Patty, for sharing your opinion. Okay, yeah, you could come on if you feel like it, but if you have a headache, don't worry about it. Yeah. Hi, Valentino. Thank you for being here. I'm doing well. I wish I had more water here, but I only have a tiny bit, so sorry, my voice is already going. So, okay, so the William H. trial was crazy. Okay, that's another thing I gotta read up on. Yeah, lots of cases out there. Hi, Sophia. Okay, jealousy, rage, anger, and frat boy or ex-boyfriend. Yeah, that's what I've been reading, that people are thinking, oh, it's got to be some angry frat boy who was rejected, or maybe more than one person did it, because, how could one person get away with brutally slashing 4 people and then running out there, without being injured himself? So maybe there was more than one person that did it. Yeah. Okay, thank you, LJ. Thanks for being here also. Okay, gotta go, cook dinner. Okay, great. Okay, so let's move on to one of our favorite cases, which is the Dan Markel, Charlie Adelson case. And so a lot of you guys probably have already seen Deep Dive True Crime, where he managed to get the live stream of today's case management hearing for Charlie Adelson, which was great because one of the subscribers told me that the hearing had been postponed. So I was like, okay, great. So that's why I posted it on my community tab. But then it turned out that, oh, I got these notifications saying that Deep Dive True Crime is showing it. So I got on that as soon as I could, and the volume was terrible. And then I was driving part of the time. So I've tried to listen to it a couple of times. So he has one live stream from this afternoon where he talked about it, and then one where he actually showed the hearing, but it seems sort of like the volume isn't that good on this one when I tried to listen to it. So anyway, let me summarize for people who didn't actually hear about the hearing. The whole thing lasted probably no more than 10 minutes. And so Daniel Rashbaum showed up with his two crutches, and he seemed to be able to sort of hobble around okay with his crutches. And they're talking about how the trial is going to start at the very end of April, first with jury selection around April 24th, and then opening statements is going to be on April 28th. So that's unfortunate because I was hoping to go, but who can take that much time off work? And it's a lot of days off to show up on a Friday, and then there's nothing going on over the weekend, and then go back there for another day or two the following week because I still have real work to do and stuff. So if I do go to the trial, I'd probably go there like maybe towards the middle of it, towards the middle or towards the end of the trial. They're thinking that the trial is going to take total about 3 weeks, possibly even 4 weeks. So that's going to be a long time. And then the judge did call the attorneys up for a sidebar, which is supposed to be a confidential conversation between the judge and the attorneys. But you could totally hear, I mean, I felt like I could hear maybe about 80% of what was being said in the sidebar. And the judge was talking about how, Florida has the sunshine laws. And he was concerned because we've already been through 2 trials already, and it might be really hard to get a good jury. So there was basically talk about sealing Katie's proffer. So another thing we heard about that was that apparently Daniel Rashbaum doesn't even know what Katie's proffer is so far, or he hasn't received any written statements or video, nothing about that. And Kappelman said that that DeCoste is still representing Katie, and they expect to get more statements from her. So it sounds like they haven't gotten the complete proffer themselves yet. So it sounds like somebody's going to be making a motion that the proffer be sealed. So as many of you guys probably already heard on Mentor Lawyers live stream show this afternoon, that means, unfortunately for us true crime buffs, we're not going to be privy to what Katie said. So that, it seems like the judge is concerned that the jury pool could get tainted because of more publicity about this case, and then poor Charlie's not going to be able to get a fair trial. So it did make me think, is it good for so many people on YouTube and so many people out there on the internet in general to be talking and sharing so much information about the Dan Markel case and about the Adelsons? Are we potentially messing with the integrity of the whole process by just throwing out our own personal biases out there and possibly interfering with the potential jury pool? So I mean, I still think, overall, it's a good thing with freedom of speech, where people can share their ideas and opinions. And in this day and age with internet and YouTube and so many different ways of people sharing their opinions throughout the whole world, it's actually a good thing. Although if the judge or the prosecutor's office personally contacted me and told me, hey, we don't think that you're really helping by continuing to cover all this stuff, and can you please, take down your videos or stop sharing all this information, then I would certainly abide by their wishes and respect that. But otherwise, until I get that letter or phone call or whatever from somebody inside the system, I think I will continue to share information and give people a forum to discuss their feelings about these cases. So, okay, so let's take a look at the comments here. Okay, at first, when I hear all the proffer talk, I kept my mouth shut as I did not know if everyone else can hear it too. Okay, yeah, we could definitely hear it. For some reason, I just tried listening to the new video that Mentor Lawyer put up on Deep Dive True Crime, and it seemed like the volume was a lot worse this time around. But luckily, I was able to hear it, as he was doing it live earlier today. So let me show you guys his channel here. Okay, so this is the video that he cleaned up. It's entitled Florida versus Charles Adelson, parentheses, Dan Markel murder, judge sets trial date, full case management conference. Okay. Yeah. So again, just to paraphrase what was going on, a lot of it was supposedly the sidebar thing. And, they said that, what is it? Like one of the attorneys is supposed to file a motion to have the proffer sealed. They're going to have another case management hearing sometime in late February, with the trial opening statement set to begin on the 28th of April, and the witnesses start testifying on May 1st. So anybody that actually wants to fly down to Tallahassee or there to be there in person to watch, start making your plans. But I have a feeling that this could very well get continued again. A lot of times, as you saw, even in Katie Magbanua and Sigfredo Garcia's trials, the trials just kept getting postponed over and over and over again. There was just so much going on. They could say that they need more time to review the evidence and to take more depositions or who knows what. But okay, so there's a up close of Georgia Kappelman. She looks really kind of beat and sick and tired of this mess. And then Charlie's sitting there. He looks like he's gained probably at least 5 to 10 pounds since the last hearing, and he still looks very haggard and unhealthy and probably malnourished or something. So, okay, yeah, so LJ is saying if you turn up the volume to the loudest with headsets, you can hear almost everything. Yeah, so I don't know why they had to do that as a sidebar, because it wasn't like any sort of like blazing, earth-shattering news like, oh yeah, Katie's saying a lot of bad stuff about Wendy and Donna Adelson and Harvey too, and we're going to talk to her some more again tomorrow, and we're going to convene a grand jury next week. Like there was nothing really that exciting that was said today. So it was kind of a downer after all this anticipation. It's like, oh, okay, so it's over now? Okay. And then there's Rashbaum hobbling along with his crutches. Now he gets to drive back to Tallahassee, or maybe he flew. Yeah. Okay, so Dawn says there's a more clear version from a local station on Facebook. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I did hear about that. Okay, so Dawn put that in the comments, the Facebook link, where you can see the hearing and hear it a little better. Okay, thank you, Debt Free Dad. Thanks. Yeah, LJ says it will be postponed at least 2 or more times, I'm guessing. Yeah, I mean, I really feel like, it's not time to buy those plane tickets to Tallahassee yet. I'm sure it is going to get postponed. Yeah, okay, thank you, JPJ. Okay, thank you for the link, Dawn. Okay, WCTV, thank you. Okay, hit the like button. Thanks, Debt Free Dad. Okay, here's a lawyer question for you. If the proffer is not done, does state have obligation to share anything with defendants? No, I'm pretty sure no. Yeah, if Katie just goes in there to a conference room and starts spouting off a bunch of stuff that they can't corroborate and think that, this has no value, we're not going to even use her as a witness, yeah, I'm pretty sure they don't have to share that information. But, caveat is I do not practice criminal law in Florida. So I probably should not be giving any sort of, well, that's not legal advice anyway. That's just a guess. So, okay, thank you. in my opinion, Rashbaum already knows everything. Who are they kidding? Yeah, well, it depends on what Charlie has been telling him also. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, LJ says the proffer has to be verified by the FBI too, so a ton of work. Yes. I try not to share my opinion as much as sharing their own words from trial interviews, etc. But this is a valid point. Oh yeah, yeah, about whether we're doing anything bad or potentially harmful to the case by bringing so much more publicity. Well, I mean, who knows? I mean, is it that much more publicity? I mean, my videos tend to, barely get a couple thousand views, and it could be from repeat people watching it over and over, maybe. So I don't feel like I have like a big influence. I mean, I'm sure Deep Dive True Crime has a lot more followers and people who actually watch his stuff. Yeah, Charlie looks floppy. I guess honey buns and ramen are catching up with him. Yeah, you sort of do feel a little sorry for him, but hey, he made his own bed. So yeah. Okay, I heard just a couple of muffled words from Georgia. Yeah, I mean, I definitely was able to hear more of it this morning when I heard it live. So, did mentor lawyer say who was in the audience? Charlie was looking back a few times. Yeah, I think, yeah, he didn't say, but someone, I can't remember where I read it. Yeah, someone said that they saw maybe Karen Cyphers, who is potentially reporting on the case um, for one of the local news websites, was there. And it looks like there was also a reporter there from the Tallahassee Democrat. So, okay, so you're embarrassed for him. Prison food. Yeah. Okay. Yes, please like, comment, share, subscribe. Yeah, thank you. Okay. Thanks. Yeah, you guys please subscribe to Debt Free Dad as well as Don DeCristo's YouTube channels also. They've been working really hard on their channels. Okay, it's not, yeah, that's right. Okay, not unless it's used as evidence. It's not all tied up with a bow yet. Yep. Yeah, thank you, Maui Swift. Yeah, Charlie's eyes. Yeah, he just looks like so creepy. Yeah, so wonder how his baby mama or his ex-girlfriends feel when they see him on the screen or see him in the news with those, like, just kind of creepy looking demeanor. He's getting chubby because of ramen noodles. Yeah, I saw a woman with a laptop in the front row. Yeah, so it could be people reporting for some other news sites. Yeah, I did not see ML yet, so I'll watch after. Okay, yeah, he's been doing great coverage. Well, Donna and Wendy, yeah, I bet that they're not going to show up because they don't want to be like, hounded by the media or to have to show their face on the screen if people are doing all these live streams, showing what's going on. And I'm sure Wendy is avoiding Charlie like the plague because she doesn't want to be associated with him because, she had nothing to do with the murder, right? So why would she want to be associated with him by showing up in the courthouse or being caught on recordings making phone calls to her brother? Yeah. And as for Donna, she's like in her late 70s, I think. So I think it would probably be too stressful for her to be driving or flying to Tallahassee just for a quick court hearing. I just think how bad he's going to look by April. Yeah, I agree. He'll probably be even heavier and very pasty and aged looking. Yeah, lots of stress in those eyes. Lots of LOL at ramen. My thing is mostly body language and looking at what people say, but we'll do other cases too. Thanks, Judy, for being so inclusive. Sure. Yeah, thanks. I'm looking forward to what else you have on your channel. Let's see. Do you all think Charlie was looking to see if anyone was there for him? Well, it could be, but I think it's just normal if you're like sitting to want to see, like who's behind me, who else is here. So, yeah, because as we know, he's making tons of phone calls every single day to anybody who will talk to him. So he probably already know in advance if any of his friends or relatives are going to show up. Yeah, that's right. They're way down in Miami. There has been some bad information distributed by some channels. Only the judge can change McBanua's sentence. Georgia cannot do it without the judge's approval. Yeah, that's right. I think that's what a judge had told, had said to somebody, and it was reported on Surviving the Survivor. Yeah, so it is a very rare thing to happen after a conviction and sentence. I wonder if Rashbaum knows Charlie likes to sue his lawyer. Yeah, who knows? I don't know if he watches my channel, but he definitely was watching Surviving the Survivor. So, yeah, maybe he's seen that video about the Adelsons suing their first criminal lawyers that they hired right after Sigfredo was arrested. Yeah, Donna's probably sick too. Yep, that's right. Yeah, it doesn't seem like she's very physically well. Yeah, everything they do is with purpose. That's right. At this point, it's not that easy. Yeah, the judge has to approve it. Okay. You could tell Charlie just hated the camera. Well, he let out some smiles too, probably just to show that he's doing great. Yeah. Very natural to want to know the surroundings. He didn't seem interested in the sidebar. Yeah, he probably couldn't hear it too well, unlike us out here on YouTube. None of them would be there for him. What? Drive to Tallahassee? Yeah, they hated Tallahassee. Why would they want to drive 7 hours plus? Yeah, that's right. They'd rather die. I've seen trials where the defendant attended all the sidebars. Does that require special instruction? Well, yeah, usually I think the defendant can be at the sidebar, but it's really up to the judge, because sometimes the judge just wants to speed things along and just ask a few questions or talk to the attorneys directly. Yeah. Okay, Rashbaum is likable. Yeah, people are saying that he's definitely more likable and seems more professional than Katie's lawyers or the other lawyers that were involved in the prior trials. Georgia makes the motion, and Georgia can also offer up to the court what Georgia feels is correct. Then the judge makes his decision, but only Georgia can initiate the process too. Okay. Okay, I like Rashbaum so far. Hi, Sunny. Thank you for being here. Okay, Tampo Joe says, I've never heard of this guy in the case. If he's guilty, he won't get away with it. God sees all. Yeah, well, I would say the vast majority of people that watch this channel believe that Charlie Adelson was definitely involved in plotting the murder of Dan Markel. So anyway, I guess none of us would be chosen to be on the jury if we lived around Leon County anyway. So, okay. Wonder if he's in protective custody. No, from True Lifestyles' channel, she's been covering a lot of the jail going-ons, like, for example, all the phone calls that Charlie and Katie have been involved in, or, any write-ups, things like that. So as far as I know, he's in general population. Yeah. Okay, Rashbaum was putting on a charm offensive. We'll see how it goes. Okay, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, he has been involved with a lot of really high-profile cases that have been in the media, though, so that's pretty impressive. Okay. Hi, Hive Mind. I'm sure the Adelsons haven't given up on their vacations. Tallahassee is no vacation. Okay, yeah. I mean, obviously, Wendy hated being in Tallahassee, so why would she want to just go there and then face all these evil looks and people wanting to, talk about her and stuff while she's there supporting her brother? So I really don't see Wendy showing up to any of the court proceedings. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Unless anybody wants to join in and say anything about the Markel case, here's the link again here in the chat box. But I'll go ahead and move on to the Shanquella Robinson case. So this is sort of like the Idaho murder, where there's been a lot of talk about, what happened to the poor victim, Shanquella Robinson. She was a woman who lived in Charlotte, North Carolina, and she had a pretty successful business doing hair braiding for children. And she also ran some sort of online clothing boutique and seemed to be, really doing something with herself. She was also a student at Winston-Salem State University, although I'm not sure if she was still currently in college when this happened. So she was savagely beaten by her so-called friends when they were on a trip to Mexico right before Halloween. And so there was video footage taken because at least two of the friends took out their cell phones and were taunting her and telling her to fight back and just basically enjoying the violence as she was being beaten. And it seemed like she might have been under the influence of drugs or something because she wasn't even really fighting back. She was just being punched and thrown to the floor. So on Saturday, there was a rally held in Charlotte trying to bring more attention to this because there is a warrant out for the arrest of one of the main perpetrators, who is, I believe, someone named Dejanay Jackson. And there have been some online YouTubers or outlets that claimed that Dejanay had been arrested, but then it turned out she had not been arrested. So we don't know where Dejanay is. And there was also another so-called friend named Winter who allegedly was filmed grabbing or putting her arms around Shanquella and body slamming her. So this article says that there were nearly 200 friends and family that gathered around to rally in support of Shanquella Robinson's family. And her father spoke about the moment he first saw his daughter in the funeral home. He said, "When I saw in that casket, I saw the knot, the cut on her lip. I know for a fact that they did some bodily harm to her," Bernard Robinson said at a rally Saturday about receiving his 25-year-old daughter Shanquella's body at a funeral home following her death in late October under mysterious circumstances. So the rally was organized by the Million Youth March of Charlotte and Salisbury Teen Advisory Board. He said his daughter had a large bump on her head along with a swollen and cut lip. He said he stood there crying like a baby. I sat there and said, "Baby, Daddy will get you justice." So there are videos out there, but I did not want to watch the whole thing. I've definitely read descriptions of what the videos depicted. So she was found dead on October 29th after just traveling to the resort the day before, and her group of 6 so-called friends went back home and told her mother that she got sick from alcohol poisoning, and she must have died from alcohol poisoning, and they were just lying to her mother. And apparently they had also used or taken about maybe at least $10,000 of her money to pay for their own things. So she died from a severe spinal cord injury. Okay. So it says here, a doctor from a local hospital was with Shanquella and her travel companions for close to 3 hours in a hotel room before she died. Robinson's mother told The Independent she hasn't been able to get in touch with her daughter's friends who went to Mexico with her since before the autopsy results contradicted their initial story. Okay, so from everything I've read, like they're just saying the FBI is working on it and the Mexican authorities are working on it. Yeah, this is what it says. The FBI Charlotte office told Fox News Digital on Wednesday that their investigation is ongoing. A State Department spokesperson told Fox News Digital that the department supports a thorough investigation of the circumstances and is closely monitoring the situation, but does not comment on extradition matters and has no further comment out of respect to the privacy of the family. Okay, so I have no idea what's going on behind the scenes there, but it was pretty crazy that her so-called friends were filming this horrible murder of Shanquella Robinson, and then they started passing around the video. So that's how people realize that this was definitely not alcohol poisoning when you have that blatant video footage of what happened to the victim. So, okay, so let me take a look out here, see if anybody has any comments here. Okay, the one in Mexico, yeah, so this is the case that just happened less than 2 months ago when they were on a trip to Mexico. Yeah, it was just very weird and very sad, but at least those people were so stupid that they have felt the urge to just take out their cell phones and start recording it, thinking that it was gonna be funny. So, but instead, her neck was broken, and she also had a spinal fracture. I'm more personally interested in Shanquella than Idaho 4. It is ridiculously sad. Yeah, it's just absolutely horrible, and in Shanquella's case, we're pretty sure we know who's responsible for it, and I can't believe that, one of the guys who was actually recording it was supposedly her best friend, and he had gone on vacations with Shanquella's family before. So it's like, what were you thinking? You thought it was funny to see your so-called best friend just being pounded to death, being punched repeatedly in the head and thrown around like that. It's just absolutely bizarre and really disgusting. Okay. Okay, first time I heard the term femicide. Yeah, sad for the parents. I hope they all face justice in Mexico where this occurred. Can the U.S. also press charges? Yeah, the U.S., as far as I know, yeah, the U.S. can also press charges too because they're all Americans. And so even though the crime occurred in another country, they should still be able to be prosecuted here too. So let's hope that there are going to be some arrests made soon. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, definitely was not alcohol poisoning, as the friend said. Yeah, these people killing people is maddening. Yeah, exactly. And that's why I'd like to do some other legal type topics instead of always covering all these like really sad and awful like murder cases all the time. I know some people like it too. It is very interesting to read about these true crime cases and try to really delve into them. But at the same time, it is kind of depressing on some level. Yeah, why didn't that doctor get her to a hospital? That's what I don't know. I mean, I've been reading people saying that her body was moved around multiple times, which is just awful. But I guess maybe the doctor or the nurse or whoever showed up didn't realize that her neck was broken because, you got her friends there that are claiming that she had alcohol poisoning. Yeah. So why didn't the doctor take her to the hospital? I have no idea. Yeah. Okay. They paid off the doctor. Yeah, who knows? I wouldn't be surprised. It's just such a weird mystery. Like, how did this all happen? Yeah. Yeah, so as far as I know, there have been no arrests. Yeah. So, there was at least one YouTuber that had, or maybe a couple of them, maybe trying to get clicks, were trying to say that Dejanay had been arrested. But, there have been other more credible news outlets that said nobody's been arrested yet. So, yeah, I would like to follow it, but it's just kind of like a question mark. It's like, how am I supposed to get some good information about this? Yeah. Okay. Sounds like a possibility. Okay. 6 women killed by men every hour. Oh, yeah, there's just crime all over the place all the time. Yeah, Mexico prisons are ruthless. Yep. Yep. Well, the people involved definitely, whoever killed her probably do deserve to be in a Mexican prison. They filmed it, love it when criminals are stupid. Yep, exactly. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, especially, if the person died, why would they want to keep that on their phone? It's ridiculous. Although it's just like that Sarah Boone case, the one that Mentor Lawyer has showcased a lot on his channel, Deep Dive True Crime. So Sarah Boone used her cell phone and was recording it when her boyfriend Jorge, or they call him George. Yeah, so George was in the suitcase, pleading and begging with her to be let out of the suitcase, and she was taunting him and just like telling him, well, too bad, this is how you feel, how I feel, when you strangle me or whatever she said. So she's taunting him the whole time, and she recorded it on her cell phone. And the police saw that video soon after they they came over and interviewed her. So it was just really ridiculous that even after Jorge had died, she still had that video on her cell phone. What is wrong with people? Yeah, I think that's part of our fascination with these really awful cases, is that, we just are totally mind boggled that people would stoop so low, especially in the Markel case, where we're talking about a lot of, well educated people that you think, some of these people would have known better or had too much to risk. Like, why would they want to risk their wealth and their social status and their comforts, to kill off somebody? That's why the William Hustle case or Husel case was so important. Not murder, it's past tense, but very important. Okay, well, I'll definitely look into that also. Yeah. Envy is deadly. Yes. The ones filming should go to prison. Yeah, there's got to be some sort of criminal charge there. I mean, granted, most places say that nobody is legally responsible for saving somebody else's life. So, you could watch somebody drown and laugh at them, and then that's not a crime, in most states, as far as I know. So, so I'm not sure if that so-called best friend and the other person recording it, I'm not sure if they are criminally liable just for being there and laughing about it or whatever. Although one of the people with the cell phone was also the that so-called friend Winter that is accused of also body slamming her. So stupid, also so revealing about their mindsets that they filmed it and shared it. Yeah. Oh, okay. Are you analyzing a Murdoch saga in South Carolina? Yeah, we talked about that on a previous live stream from probably 2 or 3 months or so ago. So I've been following that a little bit. Yeah, and it's just, like, so convoluted and complex how many shady things had gone on with that guy, and it just seems like such a horrible, um, I don't know, horrible family saga of privilege. So they were always the people who had all the money and all the power and the prestige in this little town in South Carolina, and now all the secrets have been revealed, and how dysfunctional the family is and how screwed up the dad is. Yeah. So, but on the other hand, it just doesn't captivate me as much as the Markel case, though, for some reason. Yeah. But I know there are plenty of, or there's at least one channel that's really focused on just the Alex, or they call him Alec Murdoch case. Love to hear more about the Murdoch case. Yeah, what else is there to say? I mean, other than, like, there's just all these offshoots of criminality that seem to be associated with that family. For example, the murder of Stephen Smith, who was supposedly a friend of one of the sons. There have been some people online claiming that there was some sort of relationship between them, which I'm not sure about, but that's just one of the theories that's been thrown out there. Yeah. Okay. Although he was charged with murder, but that's just stupid. Jose Baez and Diane Manosh, rockstar defense attorneys. Okay. Yeah, interesting. Okay, Murdoch is very complex. Where to start? Yeah. Yeah, it's just really sad, but at least finally now some of the truth is coming to light. For example, the poor housekeeper's kids who never got to get any of the money because the attorney stole, what was it, a settlement. It was some sort of settlement money that that the attorney stole. But what is that, wrongful death case where the insurance company paid out very quickly? Yeah, there was some sort of, like, backroom deal being made, it sounded like. But anyway, yeah, so that guy Murdoch is just, like, total sleaze. Yeah. So I'm sure there's a lot of people who have been secretly cheering that he's finally gotten his comeuppance. It seems like one of those little southern towns where people are really afraid to say anything, and they know who has the power and the money in town. Yeah. Thank you, Tom. Thanks for your support. Okay, once it goes to trial, it'll be easier to understand, I think. Oh, yeah, yeah. Prosecutors definitely have a tough job in that Murdoch case also. Charlie has always looked nasty. Now he sports the unmanicured loser look, true to his roles. Yeah, well, as I've said before, he's getting the face he deserves. Yeah. So to think that he used to just sort of have his pick of women or use his money to buy women and affection, but not anymore. So yeah, now he can use his ramen noodles and hot cocoa packets to win the support of friends in prison. Okay, yes, just a housekeeper alone, it's complicated, but maybe a good place to focus. That one should have been grounds for disbarment. Yeah, and again, this is why, it just makes you feel like, what the? It's already 2023, but there are still like little towns where it's sort of like that, where all the attorneys and the judges, certain people with power, they all know each other and they will protect each other or do deals behind the scenes to screw over the little people. Yeah, it's pretty awful. Yeah. So, yeah, what was that about him? He tried to get his cousin, who was also a former client of his, to shoot him or just slightly shoot him. I don't know. Like, did he really want his cousin to shoot him in the head? But bottom line is, like, the bullet just barely grazed his ear or something, because there was some court hearing soon after that, and people were saying he doesn't even have any visible signs of injury, but yet apparently he wanted his cousin to just shoot him on the side of the road so that his surviving son could get his life insurance. So, I mean, it's just so crazy. Yeah, very bizarre case. And, it's really amazing how that one Murdoch Motor YouTube channel has done so much sleuthing. I don't know how they managed to do it and get all that information and put together all these professional looking productions about the case. Not to mention, it's just kind of dangerous, I think, with some of those people. It's like, do you really want to keep covering this case because you could be in danger? Okay, do they have plea deals in Mexico? That I'm not sure of. Yeah, there was one person who responded to one of my other live stream shows about the Shanquella Robinson case, and they said something about how, like, they don't have public defenders in Mexico. Like, the judicial system in Mexico is totally different. Yeah, so I'm not sure. Just totally never studied that and don't have any knowledge of how things work in Mexico in the criminal justice system. Okay, bad need of a lower blood. Okay. No, I think he needs better nutrition, and probably mentally he needs, like, less stress, because, right, it's got to be all the stress of being incarcerated and knowing that he's probably going to be convicted of first-degree murder that is causing him to look so awful. And even his girlfriend years ago had said Charlie was already taking medication for anxiety and showing a lot of signs of being stressed. And, he would have rages, and he would just, like, suddenly leave because he needed to take walks and need to take his medication because he was so anxious about getting arrested. So, and then what else? Like, what do you call those things? Those fillers that people can get if you have, like, real bags under your eyes or something. I don't know if fillers would help him, but it's kind of yeah, it doesn't matter at this point, because it's not like he's going to get any facial treatments while he's in prison. Yeah. Cary Grant did. Okay. Judy. Okay. Yeah. I've heard of people saying that, but I think that's a little before my time. So, okay, Charlie is looking like a maestro. Okay. Well, the funny thing is that I will never forget the word maestro, because that's the spelling bee word that I got eliminated by back in, was it 1986, DeKalb County, Georgia, countywide spelling bee. Maestro was my downfall. I spelled it Mistro. Okay. Why still try to prosecute the Adelsons? Well, why not? I mean, yeah, I don't really understand this question, but if there is enough evidence against them being involved with the murder of Dan Markel, then they do deserve to be prosecuted. Yeah, Charlie's life of debauchery is starting to show. Yep. I don't think any arrests or plea deals yet, as suspects haven't been presented themselves as of yet. as far as I know. Okay, yeah, so you're talking about the Robinson case. Okay. Road trip to Tally. Now that we have a trial date, might rent a motorhome or a long stay hotel. Yeah, well, we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. I would like to go as long as possible, but given that I do have real work and stuff going on, maybe I could go to Tallahassee for about 3 days max, 3 or 4 days. Yeah, and I'd probably fly. Yeah, I was thinking about driving, but that would take forever, and I'd have to stop off somewhere in Georgia. So that would take so long to drive. I fully agreed they are guilty, but a lot of money. Worth it? Oh, you mean in terms of prosecuting them? Oh, it's totally worth it. Totally worth it. Okay. Generally speaking, as to whether they have plea deals, that's a good question. Yeah, sorry, I don't have any answers about the system in Mexico. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Georgia has lined up. Yep, that's right. Yeah, everybody is, or most people are rooting for the prosecution. So Lacoste said he was a problem child as a kid. Yep, he sure seemed like it. Yeah. I wonder how his older brother, Charlie's older brother, feels after hearing Charlie on a wiretap calling his brother an asshole or saying that he's going to blame his older brother and say Robert did it. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah. Okay. Oh yeah. What's it called? Hyaluronic. Is that how you pronounce it? Acid fillers or fat transfers. Yeah. For your bags under your eyes. Yeah. I think Charlie will off himself. I don't know. Yeah. It's always a possibility, but he often thinks so highly of himself that perhaps he wouldn't do that. Yeah. Please like this as Wendy likes Botox. Thank you, Sunny. Yeah. Judy is dope. Okay. Not to spelling bee fail. Yeah, that's right. I will never forget Maestro and how to spell it. So, if the Adelsons were part of a conspiracy to commit murder, off with their heads. Oh. Wish I could join you all at Tally. Yeah, I'm sure I've been to Tallahassee before when I was a kid because we used to live in Albany, Georgia, not too far away from Tallahassee, but it's been decades since I've been to that part of Florida. So that would be really interesting to go there for a trial. Yeah, Tom Crossman, Carson equals Donna. Okay. I would love to attend this trial if I weren't a million miles away and immunosuppressed. Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, that's right. You're somewhere in California, right? In Mexico, who decides your sentence, a jury or one judge? Gosh, I'm not even sure. Okay. Yeah, probably one judge, but again, I'm no expert in Mexican law. Yeah. Okay. So don't call you Wendy. Okay. Well, it's been about an hour. So it looks like nobody really wanted to join in on the video or whatever, but I do appreciate everybody being out there and commenting and sharing your opinions and asking good questions and stuff. So next live stream, I have to figure out with my schedule, but I would like to continue on with hitting the highlights of Charlie Adelson's civil deposition in his quest for disability insurance benefits. That case is still pending, even though he's in jail right now. So he's still hoping to get hundreds of thousands of dollars for past due disability insurance benefits from Berkshire Life Insurance Company. So maybe we can cover that later on Sunday or sometime next week then. So thank you all. Have a great weekend and really appreciate your time and your support of this channel. Yeah, now we all need to get on Google and figure out what the criminal process is in Mexico. Yeah, thank you, Dawn. I appreciate it. And I look forward to watching more on your channel too. Okay. Have a good evening.